Chapter 5 Black and White. Petunia was a frail woman, skeletal-like, with midnight black long hair. Her face was wrinkly and cavernous, like the contours of a map of a rough terrain. "Inside," she repeated. Colby gulped and answered, "Yes, Grandma," his fears overwhelming him as he left the elf and the dwarf standing on the front lawn. "Wait, Colby," called Ruby, rushing to his side. She placed the red VIP ring in his hand. "Make sure you use this. It's yours." "Get away from him!" screeched Petunia. Ruby bit her tongue as Kobe's grandmother stalked over to where they stood. "Give that here!" she demanded, seeing the ring. "It's for Kobe. I want him to have it," protested Ruby. "I don't care what you want. Kobe isn't allowed to do things without my permission. Now give it here," she ordered. Kobe stared helplessly at Ruby and offered the ring to his grandmother. She studied it for a moment, dark eyes widening and then narrowing in anger. "Inside," she said through gritted yellow teeth. Kobe did not hesitate, heading inside the house, but staying close to hear his grandmother say, "If I ever see you two on my property or with Kobe again, it will be the last time you draw breath." Petunia wheeled around, and Kobe darted into the kitchen. She slammed the door shut. "Upstairs," she said. Kobe lifted his head up from the floor to meet her dark eyes. A strange feeling bubbled up inside him. "The computers talk to me," he said quietly. "What did you say to me?" hissed his grandmother. "I said the computers talk to me," answered Kobe loudly. "They told me to seek Abe. There's a festival he's hosting in Jinder and—" A peal of mirthless laughter erupted from Petunia, stopping Kobe mid-sentence. "You think I'm going to let you go near that festival?" she laughed in his face. "You stupid boy. Why do you think you weren't allowed near technology in the first place?" Kobe's mind raced. "You mean—" he began to say. "I told you upstairs!" roared Petunia. Kobe felt the fires of whatever rebellion he had extinguished as she stood, pointing to his room. Defeated, he hung his head and slowly moped upstairs into his bedroom. There, inside with the door closed, he slumped onto his bed. It seemed like the walls of the house were crushing him as he stared face down into the pillow, trapping him inside like a wild animal longing to be free. Dark thoughts swirled inside his mind, treason and misery mixing for a cocktail of black anger. "She knew this the whole time," he said, kicking the bed. Kobe lashed out to whatever was nearby. He let out a muffled scream into the pillow of frustration, doing little to help. Kobe felt like he was stuck inside a prison. He had his chance to escape this world but missed it. Now he was never going to escape his miserable reality, not while his grandmother controlled his every move. She would find out about the library and keep him locked up inside the house for weeks. Kobe wallowed in despair that weighed down upon him. He was about to let out another scream when he heard, "Kobe, can you hear us?" said a familiar voice inside his head. "Solomon?" answered Kobe aloud. "I don't think he's in that room, Solomon," answered Ruby. "You see how small the window is?" said the dwarf. "We've tried all the other ones, Ruby. He's not in any of those," said the elf. Hope reignited within Kobe at the sound of their voices. "He won't be able to speak to us, remember? Kobe, if you can hear us, you need to think about your response," said Solomon. Kobe thought in his mind. "I can hear you." There was a long silence. "I don't think he's there either. Let's try the next one," said Ruby. "What if he can't speak, Ruby?" said Solomon. "What if he can only hear us?" "Then we should tell him to go to the window, or—" answered Ruby, but stopped as Kobe stuck his head out of his bedroom window, waving madly. "There you are," said Solomon happily in Kobe's mind. "Kobe, we have a plan," explained Ruby. "It's going to get you to the prison music festival." Kobe's heart leapt at the prospect and nodded enthusiastically. "But there's a catch. You're going to need the red ring back," said Solomon. Kobe shook his head. "We know, Kobe," said Ruby. "Your grandmother has it, but the ring has powers that can get you out of there, Kobe. The Whitehead mentioned it, and the VIP pass is not just decorative. It can do things, special things. It's the only way you're going to get out of there," explained Solomon. "We are going to cause a distraction that you can go and get it," said Ruby, a hint of excitement in her voice. Kobe waved his arms, wanting to shout no. "We know she's got the pass, but it's the only way, Kobe. Get ready to start searching," said Ruby. "Let's light her up," she yelled, and the pair brandished small metal objects and ducked below the rose bushes. It took Kobe only a few moments to realize the smoke wafting from the garden was their doing. It soon turned into a visible fire as the thick bushes were fuel to the growing fire. A shriek pierced through the two-story house, and Petunia appeared in the backyard, shouting and waving a hose. "Now, Kobe," said Solomon. Needing no encouragement, Kobe darted out of his room and bounded down the stairs. His first thought of where Petunia would have put it was the sitting room, where she had spent most of her time. He ruffled through the magazines and drawers, finding only pairs of reading glasses and bookmarks. He shot a glance to the bookshelf where the television had been, feeling spurred on to keep searching for his hopes of escape. He tried the kitchen, fumbling through the drawers, finding only excessive amounts of junk in each. Kobe could hear his grandmother outside, shouting at Solomon and Ruby and threatening all kinds of horrible things. After an exhaustive search, Kobe could not locate the VIP pass anywhere. He thought of the garage, but as he moved into that direction, he paused. There was only one place it could be, a place he'd never dared to go into, even while he'd been living in the house, his grandmother's bedroom. Kobe had never dared to venture into there, but if it was going to be anywhere, it would be there. Steeling himself, he walked along the corridor leading to her room. The black door appeared like a maw of some beast, waiting to swallow him up. He creaked the door open, illuminating the darkened room of a double bed and drawers either side. As Kirby moved inside, he could no longer hear his grandmother shouting, nor the back door opening and closing. He rummaged through the drawers, finding only more glasses and magazines. He saw the pitch-black walk-in robe and moved inside, not hearing the footsteps up the hall. Kobe turned on the light switch inside the walk-in robe and searched inside, finding only dusty old clothes and shoes. Defeated, he began to turn away when he caught a glint of red in the far end, not hearing the sound of the bedroom door creaking open. Kobe dropped down onto his hands and knees and found the ring sitting atop a box. Kobe felt an overwhelming urge to put it on, like it was seeking him. "Don't you dare!" Kobe turned to see his grandmother standing in the doorway, an expression of venomous fury upon her face. The room was still for a moment. All the years of Kobe's life under his grandmother's control, all the punishments, being told he was worthless. Defiantly, Kobe raised the red ring high in one hand, gave Petunia the middle finger, and with his other hand slid the red ring onto it. Instantly the room erupted in red light, the red ring hot against Kobe's middle finger as it pulsated and throbbed as though alive. A shape began to form amongst the red light, a ghostly figure set between Kobe and his grandmother. "Who is there?" said Petunia, a tinge of fear in her voice. Kobe didn't breathe. His heart was pounding. "Leave the boy alone, Petunia," said the voice of the ghost, sounding somewhat familiar. "How dare you!" hissed Grandmother Petunia. "After everything you've done to him." "It was all to protect him," said the voice, sounding calmer and softer as it spoke. "You know well as any the sacrifices were made to keep him safe." "Pah!" scoffed Petunia. "I kept him safe from you, and now you bring your circus to town with all your freaks. They set fire to my plants, Abe. I'll be seeking compensation." Kobe's heart leapt. It was Abe, the person the computers had told him to find. "Abe, I need to," began Kobe, but his grandmother screeched at him to be quiet. "You do not control him, Petunia," said Abe through the ring. "You've taken your authority too far, and you've crushed his spirit. The boy is miserable." "Do not talk to me about control," she hissed. "I kept him safe." "You kept him scared and ignorant," retorted Abe. "He who has the right to choose his own way." "He will not go to your freak show. I forbid it," she said with a tremor in her voice. "Hold the ring towards the door, Kobe," said Abe. Kobe did as he asked, and multiple beams of light were projected from the ring, drawing and encircling one another from the floor upwards. They drew a pair of shoes, then pants, arms, a torso, and finally a head at the top. Before Kobe had time to comprehend, Abe stood between him and Petunia, a red hologram projected from the ring. "You are dismissed from your task, Petunia Vanta," said Abe, facing towards her. Petunia gasped. "You cannot order me to—" A flash of red emanated from Abe towards her, making her yelp in fear and flee. Abe stood staring towards the door for a moment, his frame translucent from the projection. His shoulders slumped, and he talked over his shoulder to Kobe. I'm sorry for how she's treated you, Kobe. Though I disagree with her methods, it was necessary to keep you safe. Abe, the computers told me to find you, blurted Kobe. Abe turned. The designer's suit fit his long-limbed frame with a thin visor of glass covering his eyes and nose. He dropped to his knees and reflected Kobe back at himself through the wraparound glasses. I know you, don't I? Said Kobe. I've never been far away, said Abe with a chuckle. Mr. White? Exclaimed Kobe. That is one of my many names, said Abe with a smile beneath his glasses. Please listen to me, Kobe. I have brought the Prison Music Festival here for you. You must use the edge to make your way to the festival. Edge? Puzzled Kobe. The ring on your hand. It is known as an edge. It is one of several. Kobe's memory jolted, recalling the computers. Seek the lost edges, said Kobe aloud. The computers told me to seek the lost edges. That is what the computer told you? Asked Abe. Interesting. Most interesting. Abe was silent for a few moments, staring at Kobe through the veil of glass. Now is not the time, Kobe, said Abe, shaking his head as though to shake the thought away. The edge can aid you in traveling to the festival. Your new friends can help you too. Friends? Asked Kobe. The ones who set fire to your grandmother's garden, Abe said with a laugh. I do hope my garden hasn't been harmed. Abe brought himself up, a soft smile on his lips as he viewed Kobe. Your grandmother will not be herself for a while. Use this chance to make your way to the festival grounds, Kobe, before she returns to her normal self. Quickly now, on your feet, said Abe hurriedly. Kobe jumped up. Abe stood a little taller than him. The edge will show you where to go, Kobe. Be careful. There are far greater dangers than your grandmother on the road ahead. With a flash, he disappeared, leaving Kobe in darkness of the walk-in robe. He tentatively stepped out, expecting his grandmother to be upon him, but there was no sign of her. He made his way down the hallway and to the front of a house to where Solomon and Ruby stood smiling broadly. I see you used the ring, said Solomon. How did you know? Asked Kobe. Your grandmother running out of the house and down the street screaming about dragons chasing her was a bit of a giveaway, said Ruby with a giggle. Did you talk to Abe? Said Solomon excitedly. I did, replied Kobe. What did he say? Inquired Ruby. What was he wearing? Did he say anything about the festival? He said a few things, replied Kobe, sensing her eagerness. He repeated what Abe had told him to a captivated audience. Amazing, said Solomon once Kobe had finished. Incredible, echoed Ruby. Kobe could not understand their excitement and asked why. You met Abe, Kobe. It's like meeting the king or queen, said Ruby. Yeah, or the president, said Solomon. You weren't nervous at all? A little, admitted Kobe. The wraparound glasses were a little odd. Teleglass, said Ruby. Stops people being able to read his mind or cast viruses at him. Like the one he gave to your grandmother, explained Solomon. He gave her a virus? Asked Kobe, surprised a little by his own concern. Most viruses only last a few hours, enough time to get you to the festival and us backstage, said Ruby. He looked down at his hand, the red ring sparkling on his middle finger. How do we get there? He asked. We've got a hire car. Solomon can't drive because he freaks out being on the right side of the road. It's the wrong side, protested Solomon. The whole thing is backwards. Anyway, it's back at the hotel across town. Let's go, she said, leading the way. Kobe glimpsed back at the two-story house for a moment. I haven't packed anything, he said suddenly. Kobe and Solomon stopped. We need to get out of here before your grandmother comes back, Kobe. I've got a spare costume at the hotel and some clothes you can borrow, said Solomon. Kobe thanked him, and the trio made their way down Rainbow Street. Kobe did not make any more glances back at the house. The sun was high as they walked across the small town of Jinder. The cold breeze had begun to pick up as the local pub, doubling as a hotel, came into view on the main street of town. Our stuff is inside our room, said Ruby. Are you banned from this hotel as well, Kobe? She asked. Yes, he replied. They have pokie machines in there. They both stared at him blankly. Gambling machines, you know. Slot machines, corrected Solomon. Oh, fruit machines, said Ruby. Right, those things. I can't go into any of the buildings in town, remember? Best not risk that again, said Solomon. Why don't you wait for us in the car? while me and Ruby get our things, he suggested. Ruby produced some car keys and walked over to the rear of the building where a blue sedan was parked. She unlocked the car, and Kobe hopped into the back seat. I'll wind down the windows for you, she said, and allowed the chill breeze to waft through. You keep the keys, okay? In case you want to listen to the radio or wind up the windows. Actually, maybe don't touch the radio. It might explode. We won't be long, Kobe, said Solomon, and the duo disappeared around the corner of the hotel. Kobe leaned back against the headrest. His mind buzzed with anticipation for the festival. He was going! Not only that, he was going to meet Abe or Mr. White. He wasn't sure what to call him. He had all but forgotten his planned suicide this morning, how quickly his life had changed, all from returning a book for his grandmother. His thoughts stayed with Petunia. She didn't deserve to be given a virus. Kobe didn't like her, but he didn't want to see her hurt. Had she protected him from whatever it was that Abe was talking about? Maybe her keeping me away from technology was for my own good, he said aloud. Kobe wondered if his real parents had known. Kobe only had a picture of them his grandmother has kept of them posing with him as a baby. His father had traits like him, brown hair and brown eyes, his head held high in the picture and staring straight. His mother was softer, with curling light brown hair and blue eyes. She sat comfortably with a baby in her arms. Wrapped in a white shawl there was Kobe, fast asleep in the safest place in the world, his mother's arms. Kobe remembered the night his parents had died. He saw the flashing lights and the police coming to his house, a kind officer trying to explain what had happened. There had been some kind of accident at his parents' work, a laboratory in the city. They'd both been killed, along with another woman. They had been scientists of some kind, but Kobe had never known of what. He'd asked Petunia to tell him about his parents, but she never did. Whatever it was, she kept to herself. Kobe found his grandmother so foreign to him, he'd even wondered if she was even his real grandmother, but of course he could never ask that. He sighed and stretched in the car seat. Solomon and Ruby had been gone for quite some time. He decided he might like to try the radio, even though it might have some kind of reaction to him. He put his keys in the ignition, and the radio blared. Festival that stops the globe. That's right. The Prism Music Festival begins in less than 2 hours, with the first band starting shortly after opening. Kobe's heart leapt with excitement at the announcement and the fact that it didn't explode. The 3-day and single-day passes have officially sold out, meaning this is the 21st consecutive sellout, a feat no other traveling festival can boast, because there aren't any others. For those living under a rock, this year's theme will be fantasy. Get your armor, swords, and shields ready, folks, because there will be dragons. Mark my words. The best dressed attendee for each day will go backstage and mingle with the bands and artists, along with the brightest star there is, Abe Sue. Kobe leant forward at his name being mentioned. That's right, the man they call the FTL will be appearing on stage before the headline acts with new technology that will dazzle, delight, and deliver us to a next frontier of technological capabilities. Will it be the next MindLink? Will it be the next rocket ship? What about the long fabled teleporter? Or maybe he checks off another superpower. Could levitation, super strength, or breathing underwater be next? The world will be watching the small town of Jinder with great anticipation for what's in store. Now here are your headline acts for those not able to attend. Deftones.